My name is Andrew. This is Rogue Wrenching. You might notice I'm walking through what used to be a house. This is my house that we're trying to build, and we have just hit so many roadblocks along the way with this project. But obviously, as you can tell, the house is no longer with us, but we've got like stacks of material sitting over here, and then back over there, there's a giant pile of trusses. If you guys haven't seen the previous videos, let me give you like the quick 30-second recap here, okay? Framing contractor that was hired to come in and build this house started working on framing this house up the week of Thanksgiving of last year. Basically put up 4 exterior walls, set 8 trusses. On top of those 4 exterior walls, 7 of those trusses collapsed. He came out a month later. They set all of the non-broken trusses, scabbed together a couple of the trusses, and called it good. At which point, I brought in some outside help because I wasn't sure I don't even know what to do. So I brought in some contractors, county building inspector, bunch of stuff. We got people in here, figured out there were some serious code issues with the way the work was put together, the way the house was constructed. And so I jumped through all the legal hoops to fire my old framing contractor. The problem was that I was foolish. I didn't properly vet this framing contractor, and I had handed them a $64,000 deposit before they even started working. And that was dumb, and I know that was dumb, but at the end of the day, they're the ones who breached the contract. They are the ones who failed to build the house correctly, and they caused all the problems that led to us tearing this entire thing down last Monday. So, crane showed up, my Amish crew showed up, and they made short work of this thing. We took this house from barely apparently, standing house to neatly stacked lumber, neatly stacked trusses, and a clean swept pad in less than 7 hours. These guys are amazing. And obviously taking stuff down is faster than putting it back up, but nonetheless, we made short work of this house, and now we find after they took it apart, there are some serious issues. The corner of the foundation is just broke completely off, and that was obviously broke off by the framers setting the anchors originally. And the way that I can know that for sure is because there's a anchor that they had drilled and set horizontally to try to hold in this giant corner of the slab that's busted off. If you know anything about anything, you know that's not how you're supposed to fix a broken chunk of a slab. It's ridiculous. We're at the mercy of the weather, unfortunately, because so much time was wasted when we had good weather and we didn't get things done. We have to patch the concrete in that corner. We have to patch the concrete in the 8 other spots that they broke. And we have to do that before we can frame. Now, the issue is, this is the first time it's been above freezing in 5 days. So the concrete itself has to be above freezing, and it has to stay above freezing for at least 24 hours to be able to patch it. And this window of warm weather is not long enough to patch that concrete, which sucks. That really sucks. But unfortunately, it is what it is. I mean, it's February. We're building in the Ozarks. What else are you gonna do? With all that being said, we are having to wait on the weather to improve, and we've got a nasty storm coming in next week. We're expecting 5 to 8 inches of snow and temperatures down to -5 Fahrenheit for my Canadian friends out there. It's a mess. There's no other way to look at this other than to say that it is a mess. There are other issues that we found with the construction of these walls when they were coming apart. And so there's a lot of discussion on my last video about whether or not it makes sense to tear down this house as the most is that the right way to fix it? And there's differing opinions out there, but I will tell you that now that we decided to do it and what we learned when we did that, it just kind of solidified that that was 100% the right thing to do. The house is obviously torn down, as you can see. We're just waiting on concrete. So we're waiting on concrete patchwork to be done. That should be that's gonna be happening a week from tomorrow is when that's happening, because that's the first time the weather's gonna break enough so that we can actually do a patch and have the patch hold. Given the weather that we're expecting next week, we're probably only gonna get 1 day worth of work in on this. And my framing crew is gonna come out here, they're gonna chalk the slab, they're gonna mark out where all the walls go, and they're gonna prefab some of those walls just flat on the ground. And then next Sunday, concrete's gonna come out, they're gonna patch all the spots that need to be patched. As I said, there's 8 spots around the slab where the slab was broken, and it looks like, based on where the cracks are, those cracks were caused by improper installation of the anchors on the front end. I don't know how that happens. I genuinely don't know how that happens. There were no cracks when framing started last time. There were cracks when framing was done. I don't know what to tell you. They broke it. So that's frustrating because that's an extra $2,500 that I got to spend. We're able to salvage some of the material, not as much as we had originally hoped for, because when they framed these walls, I didn't even think that it was necessary, but I should have taken a tape measure to them and I should have checked them because they had cut all the wall studs 1.5 inches short. So if we went from a double bottom plate to a single bottom plate, we lose 1.5 inches, plus the 1.5 inches they already shorted us. Now we're 3 inches lower. If the exterior walls are 3 inches lower or shorter than all the interior walls, then that entire skid that I have right there of pre-cut wall studs, every single one of those boards is going to have to be cut, and it's going to take more time and more labor to be able to build the rest of the walls. So in the interest of saving on labor, we're spending more on material than we're saving on labor, if that makes sense. So it's not a dollar for dollar win, but it does get us to a finished house faster. And right now, with the lease on my family's rental expiring very soon, speed is absolutely of the essence. So we had, like I said, whole thing came down on Monday. My crew spent about 6-7 hours here working on it, and then we had all of our wall package delivered, but all new material was dropped off on Monday, and that's going to be ready to go for this crew. And we have actual treated lumber to go down on that bottom plate, and we are going to do everything we can to try to save as much material as we can. We're starting with a clean slate. I think based on everything that I have seen, based on all the things the framers found when they took this stuff apart, based on all of that, I think that starting from a clean slate is the best possible way to do this. And there may be some of you out there that disagree with me on that, and that's okay, because ultimately, this is my house and I got to pay for it, so it is what it is. But I did want to address a couple of things that came up in comments and questions from my last video. The first question was, why didn't the work stop when the first wall went up without a pressure treated board? And the answer to that question is because I didn't catch it. I should have caught it, because I have been out here every single day inspecting the work that's been done, and I should have caught it. But I didn't, because I didn't know any better. I saw walls going up and I was so excited to finally make progress on the house. I was just excited to see some sort of progress. I wasn't paying attention to the fact that stuff wasn't done right. I didn't know that stuff wasn't done right. I'm learning a tremendous amount throughout this process. This was never supposed to be a self-build where I build it or I'm the GC. I wanted to pay a general contractor to come in and handle this, because I have some background in construction, but I don't have the background where I'm comfortable right out of the gate taking over as a GC. So I hired a guy, and he took advantage of me, and it was really ugly. It got really ugly really fast. Unfortunately, I was able to fire him before it got any worse. Because of that, because of the amount of money that this guy could just like usurped from me, there was no extra money in the budget to be able to pay another general contractor to come in and take over the project. Also, the number of general contractors that want to come in on a half-done project is not a lot. Most guys are like, yeah, not my problem, have a nice day. Which, you know, I get that. I don't like coming in and taking over other, half-done projects for other people, but ultimately, there wasn't enough money in the budget to hire another contractor, so I ended up hiring out some subs for some of the other work. So I've got a framer, a plumber, an HVAC guy, an electrician. Now, the issue was this framer was hired by my ex-general contract. That was my mistake, because everything my ex-general contractor has touched has cost me ungodly amounts of money. So, no. The guy that put this house up was not the cheapest bidder. I paid a premium for what I was led to believe was a premium product. What I did not realize is this guy that I hired is using a name that is very, very, very close to another reputable company. So all of the background I did on this guy, every time I called someone saying, hey, have you worked with this company? They think of the other company that's been around for years, that does good work, that is a good company. And because I got all that good positive feedback, I didn't hesitate to write a check, sign a contract. I wasn't worried about it, because like everybody says good things about these people. Like, why would they screw me? And I've got a contract, I'm protected. Well, that piece of paper, we'll see. We'll see. Because right now I'm out $64,000. I had to pay extra money to take this house back apart, and I've got to pay to fix the concrete that they screwed up, and I had to buy more trusses that they screwed up. It really is an ugly situation, unfortunately. That's kind of all there is to it. All I can do now is learn as much as I can, learn from the mistakes that I've made, and do the best that I can moving forward so this doesn't happen again. Being a general contractor is not something that anybody can just step into, and there's plenty of people on the internet who have pointed that out to me, and I'm aware of that, but also, well, yeah, you're just right. It's not necessarily the easiest thing in the world to be the general contractor, but I have enough people around me, and well, I'm learning the hard way. I am getting good people around me. I am hiring good subs that actually know what they're doing. We are on the upswing. We've, I think, hit rock bottom now that we tore the entire house down, and we are on the swing back up. So that's good. How am I gonna financially recover from that? I have no idea. I genuinely don't know. But the house is flat. Material is here for the house to be rebuilt correctly. As you can see, that is treated lumber. That goes on the bottom. Who knew? Who knew? Everybody apparently except me and this clown that I hired. That is the story. That's where we are at. And I am super excited to be able to bring you guys along on this journey. This has been an incredibly hard journey. This has been an incredibly humbling journey because I learned just how much I don't know, but we're gonna get through this. I'm gonna keep bringing you guys videos every week. Last week I got sick, that's why that video was a little late getting out, but hopefully this one gets out to you on time. That is kind of where we're gonna leave this one. That is all I have for you fine people. I don't know why the last video blew up as big as it did, but I'm super grateful that it did. So thank you guys for your continued support. To those who have been with me for years and those who have just joined me on this journey, thank you for being here. We've hit rock bottom. Let's turn this boat around. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.